I've got Sue Towner with me, who is an accountant with years and years of experience, and she's from Jackson Scott Associate Limited, and she's just been here with us at Startup and Stilettos, which is an InspirEngage program here at Hillcraft College, talking about how you would go about registering your business, managing your finance, some of these nitty-gritty things that aspiring entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs who are watching this will want to know. So, from an accountant's point of view, and so I personally think that actually an accountant's role is sometimes not highlighted enough. I think an accountant plays a very important role and has a lot of information about that's useful to entrepreneurs. So, if aspiring entrepreneurs are watching this, what are some of the things that they need to be thinking about when starting up?
Main thing is to make sure they're properly registered with the authorities. Now, you need to let the Inland Revenue know within 6 months of starting your business. You register with them, you can register, everything's online now, or you can ask for a form to send in. You'll then get what they call a unique taxpayer's reference number, which stays with you like your national insurance number for the rest of your life. But you do need to let the authorities know.
How do you let the authorities know? So what's the quickest way to go about that?
Go on to the HM Revenue and Customs website and you can register through that. It will guide you. It's actually become quite user-friendly, which is a change for a government one, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So you can register there just as being self-employed. You need to know your national insurance number when you go online, but that's fine.
Okay, excellent. Now in terms of, okay, so you've registered,
yeah,
right? And how does the whole, once you start trading, how do you go about it then? How do you manage your accounts? What are some of the nitty-gritty? Because I think the finance is one of the things that really scares people when it comes to starting up. And people don't want to get it wrong, and HMRC is definitely not someone you want to be on the wrong side of. What are some of the things that people can really know quite early on so that they can run their businesses and for fear of finance not to be something that stops them?
Right, that's the main thing, is keep every single bit of paper that relates to your business. You don't have to have fancy accounting packages. You don't even need to keep it on a computer. Not at first. Returns have to be made online eventually. But keep everything. If you're not sure if it's a business expense or not, keep the bit of paper anyway. If it's something like parking, pay and display you'll get the ticket for. Coin in the slot meters, you don't, write it down. Either keep it all in a diary or just keep a book. But do keep all records for what you've spent in relation to the business and certainly what's come in.
Right, and you can even backtrack some of that, can't you? So even if you spent that before you actually went and registered your business, then you can backtrack on some of that and include that once you register your business and start trading.
What we say is sit down on the day that you are going to start your business and look around you at what you're putting into the business. If you've got a desk, you may have had it for a long time. You've got paperwork, you've got reference books. Put a value on them of what you'd be prepared to pay for them on that day in that condition, and keep a full list. That's your capital introduced, that's your start-up funding. But you may have spent it years ago, but it's worth spending time to do that list. I mean, we've had people who've done that and they instantly had to go out and get a burglar alarm because they didn't realise they were worth so much. But, keep everything.
Right. Okay, and then once you start trading, what do you need to do? If you're a sole trader, you're starting small with a small business, what are some of the things that people need to do in terms of keeping their accounts? I mean, you said that to keep everything, but in terms of keeping a hold on their finances, if they're in profit or not, or, what are some of the outgoing costs? What's the easiest way to do that?
Really, just keeping these records. If you're computer literate, you can use spreadsheets, and you've got your allowable expenses.
Accountants love spreadsheets,
yes,
don't they?
Yes, printer spreadsheets. You can get very complicated programs and everything else, but unless you're very computer literate and prepared to spend the time and money on them, you are not obliged to do it. Your returns will probably have to be made online. They're going to cease all paper returns. They're trying to now. There's a much tighter deadline for putting paper returns in than there are the online ones. But do keep all your records. That's the main thing. Hang on to the bits of paper. If you can use spreadsheets, you've got a list of your income, you've got a list of your outgoing. Take your outgoings from your income, and that's a basic profit. can look a lot more complicated than that, depending on your trading entity. But that's the main thing that will tell you if you're making any money. It's not necessarily what you've got in the bank, because if you've got a wad of bills that you haven't paid yet, then you're not in profit. It's that income and outgoing actual that gives you your profit.
Right. Okay, so, and just to summarise then, just to make it very, very clear in terms of if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you're just about to get started, and actually before we get to that, social enterprise. Obviously, social enterprise is a growing model, which is something we really, really encourage at InspirEngage International. And obviously, Startup and Stilettos is so women can launch their own social enterprise. If you're a social enterprise, there are some considerations given to the model, whether it's a community interest company, for example. What are some of the things that a social enterprise needs to think about in addition?
It is more of the setup. It could be that they've got to go into a company limited by guarantee rather than the standard limited liability company. It's got to prove it's got charitable or similar objectives.
Social
a lot
mission.
of clubs will become companies limited by guarantee. But it does mean that if the people running it take any money out, it has to be by way of salary. They will be salaried. Now, even though technically the company isn't making profit, or if it is, it's being ploughed back in for the good of its objectives, anybody who takes money from the company can only do so by way of salary. So you're getting involved in a far more complex setup. If you're starting small, get a toe in the water and try being a sole trader first. See if it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Not everybody can cope. Some people go over the top and you spend hours and hours on your business to the detriment of family and friends. Other times you think, oh, well, I can do that tomorrow. It's quite a discipline to get into first.
Right.
And for ladies who are, or anybody who's on benefit as well, they've also got the added strain of dealing with the benefits office as to what they're earning and what they're doing. There are lots of different trading entities, and a company limited by guarantee is probably the best one, but you do need a lot of people involved. It's normally clubs who are working like that.
Okay, fantastic. Right, so in summary, I'm an aspiring social entrepreneur. What are the top 3 things I need to do?
Tell the revenue.
Okay,
first,
tell the revenue. Yeah.
Do all your registration forms with them.
Right.
Get a bank account.
Yeah.
You can use a private account until lots of different checks go through, but the banks need to make their money. But you will get help from some of the banks.
It helps you separate your costs as well, doesn't it? So you know exactly what's coming in and going out.
Yeah.
So you got tell the revenue.
Yeah.
You've got get a separate bank account.
And keep all your records. Decide what form you're going to keep your records in and stick to it. Now, a lot of people have this dread of paperwork. Even if you just put all your receipts and notes in a shoebox, that's fine, but keep
That's the
everything.
cliche, isn't it? The shoebox.
If you've got the shoebox, you'll probably need somebody at the end of the year to sort it out for you. But sometimes there's no obligation to use an accountant. None whatsoever if you feel you can do your own tax returns. For a lot of people, they want the reassurance. They want somebody they can talk to. And at our practice, this is what we prefer to do. We say to them, phone us up if you've got any questions. If we don't know the answer, we'll try and find it out for you. So we get some really weird questions that are nothing to do with accounts. But that makes it far more interesting for us as well. But if you do use an advisor, then use them. That's the main thing.
Good. Okay, so there you go. Lots and lots of information. And the top 3 tips were tell the inland revenue, set up a separate bank account, and keep all your records. Fantastic. Sue Towner, thank you so much. And hopefully you found that useful. Thank you.